Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learn and Talk English, your ultimate destination for mastering English through exciting and meaningful conversations. I'm Emily, and I'm so happy you're here with us.
And I'm Marcus. We're all about helping you improve your English skills while exploring fascinating topics. Sometimes we'll dive into historical figures like Nelson Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi. Other times we'll look at great scientists such as Albert Einstein or Isaac Newton, and we'll even tackle real-life challenges like AI and the future of our world. Think of this as your one-stop channel where language learning meets culture, science, and history, all in a fun and accessible way.
That's right. Each episode is designed to give you real-life examples, engaging stories, and plenty of chances to practice new words and phrases. Whether you're studying for exams, traveling, or just curious about these amazing topics, we've got you covered.
Exactly. We believe that meaningful learning sticks with you longer. So, we'll keep things interesting by blending language tips with inspiring stories from different cultures, the latest scientific breakthroughs, or the greatest historical moments.
But don't go anywhere just yet, because up next, our friend Maria will introduce you to today's topic. We can't wait for you to hear what she has in store.
And right after that, our linguistic experts, Olivia and Jack, will dive deep into the language side, breaking down key phrases and showing you how to use them in everyday speech. So, you'll not only learn about these fascinating subjects, you'll also learn in English.
Stay tuned, keep an open mind, and join us on this learning journey here at Learn and Talk English. We're thrilled to have you with us. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Learn and Talk English podcast. I'm Maria, and I'm so happy you're here. Today's podcast is about a truly amazing person in history, Mahatma Gandhi. Please listen carefully. The goal in this series is to help you learn English and also learn about important people and ideas from around the world. Let's begin. Mahatma Gandhi was born in India in the year 1869. His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He came from a religious family. They believed in values like truth, nonviolence, and respect for all life. As a child, Gandhi made mistakes, like all of us. But later, he promised to live a life of honesty and discipline. At the age of 13, he married a young girl named Kasturba in an arranged marriage. When he was 19, he went to London to study law. Before he left, he promised his mother no meat, no alcohol, and no bad behavior. In London, he studied hard and read books about many religions and philosophies. These helped shape his future beliefs. In 1893, Gandhi went to South Africa to work as a lawyer. There, he faced racism. One day, he was thrown off a train even though he had a first-class ticket. This experience changed his life. He realized many Indian people were treated unfairly. Gandhi wanted to fight injustice, but in a peaceful way. He developed a new idea called satyagraha. That means truth force. A way of fighting unfair treatment without violence. He organized protests and helped create the Natal Indian Congress to support Indian communities. Gandhi believed that peaceful resistance was stronger than violence. He was also inspired by writers like Leo Tolstoy and Henry David Thoreau. In 1915, Gandhi returned to India. Many people already knew about his work. He chose to live in a simple way, wearing clothes made at home, called khadi. This helped him connect with ordinary people. Soon, he became a leader in India's fight for independence. He led the non-cooperation movement. He asked Indians to stop buying British goods and to avoid British schools and courts. In 1930, he started the Salt March. He walked 240 miles to the sea to protest the unfair salt tax. He made salt from the sea. This act inspired millions. The world paid attention. During World War II, Gandhi began the Quit India movement. He told the British to leave India immediately. His message was clear: do or die. Even though he and others were arrested, this showed that Indians were ready for full independence. Gandhi's beliefs were based on four big ideas. Ahimsa. That means nonviolence, never hurt others. Satya. That means truth. Always be honest. Sarvodaya. That means the good of all people. And Swadshi. That means self-reliance. Make your own goods. Support your local community. In 1947, India finally became independent, but the country was divided into India and Pakistan. This led to violence between Hindus and Muslims. Gandhi worked hard to bring peace. Sadly, on January 30th, 1948, Gandhi was killed. A man who disagreed with his peaceful ideas shot him. The world was heartbroken, but Gandhi's message still lives on. Gandhi inspired many other leaders, like Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States and Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Even today, Gandhi's teachings about peace, truth, and justice still inspire people around the world. Thanks for listening. In the next segment, Olivia and Jack will talk about this story in more detail. They'll explain important words and useful phrases, so listen carefully and stay tuned. Before we finish, make sure to stay until the end of this episode. Our language experts will go over the most important keywords to help you grow your English vocabulary. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. Tell us which real-world stories you want us to talk about next. We're open to your ideas, and we'd love to know where you're listening from. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Learn and Talk English podcast. See you next time.
Welcome to the Learn and Talk English podcast.
Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here with you today.
We are so happy you're tuning in. Our goal here is, well, it's to help you improve your English listening and vocabulary.
That's right. And we do that by sharing interesting stories. We'll tell you a story, and as we go, we'll explain some words and ideas.
Hopefully making it easier to understand and helping you pick up some new vocabulary along the way.
Exactly.
So today's story, it's about someone really quite special from history.
A person who worked tirelessly, really, for peace and fairness.
It's a very inspiring story, I think.
Definitely. We're talking about Mahatma Gandhi, a truly remarkable leader.
Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so he was born quite a long time ago, wasn't he? October 2nd, 1869.
That's right. His birth name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he was born in Porbandar, which is in Gujarat, in India.
And his family background, that was quite important, I understand.
Oh, very. They followed the Vaishnavite tradition within Hinduism. That's where they worship the god Vishnu. And they were also influenced by Jainism.
Jainism.
Right.
And that brought in some key values.
Yes, exactly. Like ahimsa. That's a really central one.
Ahimsa, that means non-injury, not hurting living things.
Precisely. And also vegetarianism, not eating meat, and tolerance, respect for different faiths. These were big influences early on.
And his parents, his father was a Dewan? What's that exactly?
A Dewan is like a chief minister, a very important local official. And his mother, Putlabai, she was very devout, very religious. She had a huge influence on him.
Instilling those values, I suppose.
Definitely.
He went to school locally, first in Porbandar, then Rajkot. And even then, he admired certain qualities in people.
Yes, he really looked up to people who were truthful and also those who made sacrifices, people who gave things up for a greater good or for others.
Interesting. Now, he was married very young, wasn't he?
Yes, at 13. It was an arranged marriage, which was common then. His wife's name was Kasturba.
And that marriage was a significant part of his life.
Absolutely. It lasted his whole life.
Now, like a lot of teenagers, he apparently had a bit of a rebellious phase.
He did, yes. A brief period. He flirted with atheism, not believing in God, and there were some minor incidents he later regretted. Things like a bit of theft, smoking, even trying meat, which went against his family's vegetarian beliefs.
Ah, okay, but he came back from that.
Oh, strongly. After that phase, he really doubled down on his moral convictions. Truthfulness became incredibly important to him, along with self-discipline controlling his own impulses.
And reading played a big role in shaping his thoughts, too.
Yes, he read widely. Hindu epics, the Bhagavad Gita, a key Hindu scripture, but also the Bible, the Quran. He was exploring different spiritual ideas.
And Jainism kept influencing him, especially that idea of ahimsa.
Deeply. Jainism really helped him understand non-harming ahimsa on a profound level, kindness and peace towards all beings.
So then he travels abroad to London.
Yes, at 19, He went to London to study law. He was at the Inner Temple, one of the big legal colleges there.
And he made a promise to his mother before leaving.
He did, a very important one. He promised he wouldn't touch wine, women, or meat while he was away. And he kept that promise. Shows his commitment, right?
It really does. Okay, so he finishes his studies, and then comes South Africa.
Yes, in 1893.
Yeah.
He went there initially for a job as a legal advisor for an Indian business firm.
And South Africa, that turned out to be a huge turning point.
Massive. He encountered racial discrimination almost immediately. It was a shock.
What kinds of things happen?
Well, really blatant things. Famously, he was thrown off a train. He had a first-class ticket, but he was told to move to the third-class carriage because he was Indian. When he refused, they forced him off at the next station.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. And another time, in court, he was ordered to remove his turban.
His turban, which is part of his cultural and possibly religious identity.
Exactly. These experiences, they profoundly affected him. They really lit a fire under him, making him determined to fight for the rights of Indians there.
And this is where the idea of satyagraha starts to form.
Precisely. Satyagraha. It's a Sanskrit term. It means something like truth force or perhaps love force.
Truth force. What does that mean in practice?
Well, the core principles were, first, a total commitment to truth. Second, absolute nonviolence, ahimsa. And third, a willingness to suffer oneself to accept punishment, arrest, hardship without retaliating.
So not fighting back physically, but standing firm for the truth.
Exactly. The idea was to appeal to the conscience of the opponent, to make them see the injustice through your own peaceful suffering and commitment to truth.
That's a powerful idea. And he started organizing.
Yes, he quickly got involved in organizing the Indian community. In 1894, he helped found the Natal Indian Congress.
To fight discriminatory laws.
That was the main goal. For example, they campaigned against a really humiliating law that required all Indians to register, be fingerprinted, and carry passes at all times.
Wow. And they protested this nonviolently.
Using the principles of satyagraha, civil disobedience, peaceful protest.
He also showed his commitment to service in other ways too, right? Like during wartime.
Yes, that's interesting. During the Boer War and later the Zulu Rebellion, he actually organized and led Indian Ambulance Corps. They served the injured on the British side, but it showed his commitment to service and helping others, even in conflict.
He was also reading Western thinkers around this time. Did they influence him?
They did. He found connections with his own thinking. Leo Tolstoy, the Russian writer, particularly his ideas on nonviolent resistance and the kingdom of God is within you.
Tolstoy, right. Anyone else?
Henry David Thoreau, the American writer. His essay, Civil Disobedience, really resonated the idea of peacefully refusing to obey unjust laws.
Makes sense.
And also John Ruskin, an English writer. Ruskin's critique of industrial society and his emphasis on social justice and economic equality in works like Unto This Last, Gandhi found that very inspiring.
So he's blending these ideas, Eastern and Western, into his philosophy.
And putting them into practice, like with the Phoenix settlement he established in 1906.
What was that?
It was kind of a communal farm or settlement based on principles of simple living, manual labor, sharing resources, and social upliftment, trying to live out those ideals.
Okay. So after all this experience in South Africa, he eventually goes back to India.
Yes, in 1915. And by this time, his reputation had preceded him. People in India knew about his work in South Africa. They saw him as a leader, a hero even.
And when he got back, he made a very visible change, didn't he, in his appearance?
He did. He started wearing very simple, traditional Indian clothes, specifically homespun cloth called khadi.
Khadi. Why was that significant?
Well, it was a powerful symbol. It showed his solidarity with the poorest Indians who often spun their own cloth. And it was also a statement about Indian self-reliance, Swadeshi, rejecting British manufactured goods in favor of Indian-made ones. It was about economic independence as well as political freedom.
Right, connecting with the ordinary people.
Exactly. And that was a big part of his strategy for the independence movement. He wanted to transform the Indian National Congress, which had been mostly upper class, into a real mass movement.
Getting everyone involved, from villages and towns.
Yes. He believed India's strength was in its people. He also pointed out that Indian disunity was actually helping the British maintain control. So unity and self-reliance were key messages.
So how did he put this into action on a national scale? What were the big movements?
Well, the first major one he led was the non-cooperation movement, starting around 1919-1920.
Non-cooperation, meaning?
Meaning Indians should peacefully refuse to cooperate with the British administration. Boycotting British goods, yes, but also British schools, courts, government jobs, basically withdrawing participation from the colonial system.
And promoting khadi was part of this?
A huge part. Spinning and wearing khadi became a symbol of the movement, a practical way to support Indian industry and defy the British economically.
Did people follow? Was it successful?
It had widespread participation. Millions got involved. Many people were arrested, including Gandhi himself. It really shook the British administration.
But didn't he call it off?
He did, yes. In 1922, there was an incident in a town called Chari Chara where protesters attacked and killed some policemen.
Violence.
Exactly. And for Gandhi, nonviolence ahimsa was absolute. It was the core principle. So when that violence broke out, even though the movement was strong, he felt he had to suspend it. He believed the people weren't ready for purely nonviolent struggle yet.
That must have been a difficult decision. Shows how central nonviolence was for him.
Absolute central. It was non-negotiable for him.
Okay, so what came next? What about the Salt March? That's very famous.
The Salt Satyagraha, yes. Or the Salt March, that was later, in 1930. It was protest against the British monopoly and tax on salt.
Salt. Why salt?
Because salt is essential for everyone, rich or poor. But the tax hit the poor the hardest. It was a basic necessity of life that the British controlled and taxed unfairly. So it was a very clever target for protest, something everyone could understand and relate to.
So what did he do?
He decided to walk. He and about 78 initial followers started walking from his ashram, Sabarmati ashram, towards the sea coast at Dandi.
How far was that?
About 240 miles. It took them almost a month. And along the way, huge crowds gathered. He spoke to people in villages, gaining more and more support.
And when they got to Dundee?
On April 6, 1930, he reached the sea. And he bent down and picked up a lump of natural salt from the seashore.
Breaking the law.
Exactly. A simple act, but profoundly symbolic. He was defying the British salt law. It was an act of civil disobedience.
And the reaction.
It electrified the country. People all over India started making their own salt, collecting it, selling it illegally. The British responded with mass arrests, over 60,000 people, including Gandhi again.
Did he get international attention?
Huge international attention.
Yeah.
Newspapers around the world covered it. It really highlighted the injustice of British rule and boosted the independence movement enormously.
A masterstroke of nonviolent protest.
Truly. Then, later, during World War II, came another big push.
That would be the Quit India movement.
Yes, launched in 1942. By this point, the demand was for immediate independence. The British were fighting the war, and Gandhi and the Congress said, basically, quit India now.
And he had a slogan for this one, too.
A very powerful one. Do or die. It wasn't a call for violence, but for utmost effort and willingness to sacrifice everything for freedom.
How did that go?
It led to widespread protests, some spontaneous uprisings, and again, a massive crackdown. The British arrested almost the entire Congress leadership, including Gandhi, right at the start, August 9th, 1942.
So it was repressed.
It was, quite harshly. But even though it was suppressed, the Quit India movement showed the absolute determination of the Indian people. It made it crystal clear that British rule couldn't last much longer after the war. The desire for independence was just too strong.
So looking back, his impact was just immense, wasn't it? Transforming the whole movement.
Undeniably. He took it from an elite discussion group to a massive popular struggle. His methods of nonviolent action, connecting with ordinary people, his simple lifestyle, the message of self-reliance, it all resonated.
And tactics that the Salt March were incredibly effective.
Yes, they directly challenged British authority in a way they found hard to counter without looking brutal, and it gained huge international sympathy and support for India's cause.
But sadly, his story doesn't end with independence. There's the assassination.
Yes, tragically. On January 30th, 1948, just months after India gained independence, he was assassinated.
Where did it happen?
In New Delhi. He was walking to his evening prayer meeting.
And who? Why?
He was shot by a man named Nathuram Godse. Godse was a Hindu nationalist. He and the groups he was associated with strongly disagreed with Gandhi's vision for India.
What specifically did they disagree with?
Primarily Gandhi's emphasis on Hindu-Muslim unity. Gandhi advocated for a secular India where all religions could coexist peacefully. Godse and his allies wanted a Hindu-dominated nation. They were angered by the partition of India and Pakistan, and they blamed Gandhi for, as they saw it, being too accommodating to Muslims.
So groups like the Hindutva movement, the RSS, the Hindu Mahasabha, they held these opposing views?
Yes. Godse had connections to these groups. Their ideology was very different from Gandhi's inclusive approach. They felt Gandhi had weakened India, particularly during the violence surrounding partition.
It's so tragic. Do we know his last words?
It's widely believed his last words were, he Ram, which means, oh God, oh God.
The reaction must have been overwhelming.
Absolute shock and grief, not just in India but around the world. Jawaharlal Nehru, who was then prime minister, gave a very famous moving radio address announcing his death.
There was national mourning.
Yes, the whole country mourned. Millions attended his cremation ceremony in Delhi to pay their respects.
Hey, guys.
He was arrested, tried, found guilty, and eventually executed, along with a co-conspirator.
So, in a way, his commitment to nonviolence and unity was what led to his death at the hands of someone with a completely opposite exclusionary ideology.
It seems so. His death really underscored the deep communal tensions that still existed in India, despite his lifelong efforts. A very sad end to an extraordinary life.
What an incredible story. Inspiring, but also so sad at the end.
It really is.
Okay, so that was the story of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, as we promised, let's look at a few useful English words from the story.
Good idea. These are words you heard us use quite a bit. Let's start with peace.
Peace. P-E-A-C-E.
Peace. Peace means a time when there isn't war or fighting. It's about calm, getting along. Like we said, Gandhi worked for peace between different groups.
Peace. Try to say it.
Peace. Good. Another important word was fight. F-I-G-H-T.
Fight. Now, this word can mean, hitting someone, physical fighting.
Right, but it can also mean working really hard against something you think is wrong or unfair, using effort, not fists.
Like Gandhi wanted to fight for the rights of Indians. He wasn't hitting people, he was working hard against unfairness.
Exactly. Let's say fight.
Fight. Okay, next word. Leader. L-E-A-D-E-R.
Leader. A leader is someone who guides other people, someone who shows the way who others follow.
Gandhi was a great leader of the Indian people. Leader.
Leader. Say it with us. Leader.
Okay, how about important? I-M-P-O-R-T-A-N-T.
Important. If something is important, it matters a lot.
Yeah.
It has a big effect or value.
Nonviolence was very important to Gandhi. It was a key part of his beliefs.
Important. Let's hear you say it. Important.
Important. Good. And one more. Help. H-E-L-P.
Help. This is a very common word. It means to give assistance, to make something easier for someone, to support them.
Gandhi wanted to help poor people. He offered help. Can you say, help? Great. So those words again were peace,
Fight.
leader,
Important.
and help.
Useful words to know. We really hope learning about Gandhi's life and these words was, well, helpful for you.
Think about the story. What part did you find the most inspiring? Was it his time in South Africa, the Salt March, his ideas about nonviolence?
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think. And maybe try using one of the new words we just talked about. Peace, fight, leader, important, or help. Try making your own sentence.
You could even share your sentence in the comments section below this video or audio. We'd love to see it.
Definitely. And hey, if there's another interesting person from history or any topic, really, that you'd like us to talk about to help you learn English, let us know that too.
We really value your suggestions.
We do. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Learn and Talk English podcast.
We hope you enjoyed it and learned something useful. If you did, please give this episode a like. It really helps us out.
And make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next lessons.
Keep practicing your English. Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you next time. Stay tuned.